are back with Heather.
Hi.
Yay. So today on What the Fuck Wednesday, we are talking about what it is like to be a server and the top 3 things that as servers make us crazy.
Yes.
So if you're in a restaurant and you do these things, quit it. So you're a server.
I'm a server.
So is that your main thing, or you have anything else?
I'm a student. I'm a full-time student, but I've been serving a long time, and I've been like full-time serving for most of that time. So.
And what are you studying?
Nursing.
So here's the thing. The assumption is, if you are a server, it's because you probably have no other options and you might be a dummy, right? And I think that's why sometimes people treat us not the best.
Yeah.
Because they assume like you have no other options in your life and that's why you're here. So I'm a singer-songwriter, as if you watch the channel, you know, and I'm in the music industry and whatever. I have a lot of qualities that are great. And I also am a server. We serve in different places. I used to serve in the place that she serves now, so we have a lot of very similar experiences. So we're gonna talk about the top 3 things
They don't teach you how to use your fingers.
No, I'm so tired. So we both closed last night. So what time did you get home?
I got home around midnight.
Yeah, I got finished around 12:15, so I got home just before 1. So, yeah. I find that in the beginning of the night, and I mean, Heather's much more patient than me. Heather has the patience of a saint.
I don't think that's true.
I am less patient.
I just bottle everything down inside.
You just push it down. Okay, so top 3 things. Number 3, don't make your server parent your child.
Please don't.
Please. It's bad enough that after you leave, we have to clean up 1,000 Cheerios and all those little things that used to have the little fruit in them. You know, those things that you squeeze them?
Squeeze.
Yeah.
And the high chairs covered in like crusted on, like mashed up carrots.
You're like, this is gonna be enough for me once you and your progeny leave. Progeny.
Nice.
See,
nice
I'm not
word.
just a server. So I don't know. Like to me, it's like, so what do they do where you work? What are the things that you have witnessed the kids
I've
doing?
actually had because we give out little kids menus and crayons. I've had kids like color on the table with crayons, and I've had to ask parents or ask the kids like to not do that.
Yeah.
They stand up on the booth. They like put their hands up on like all the windows. They like run around the restaurant. They've come up into like where the kitchen area is and like start to walk back behind like the bar and the kitchen area. And I've had to like.
And you just give them food and you're like, run this to that table over there.
Take the soup.
Take the soup.
Tell them it's hot. Be careful. Go on your way.
Make sure they have their spoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's like you feel like a bit of an asshole being like, hey, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Like on New Year's, we had a dance floor and we did a balloon drop. And then for the rest of the frickin' night, because no one is like, oh, my child is being a terror because it's 1 in the morning and they should be asleep. So the kids start to stomp on the balloons. Oh. So the whole lounge is like fully like PTSD, like every time the balloon pops. So I go over and I'm like, we're not gonna do that. No, don't, stop it, stop. And then I'm like, am I gonna get in trouble because I just told this child to behave like a human being?
Just it. Like,
you think I am gonna, because if the parent is like, excuse me, little tractor over here is really upset because your server told him not to break all the glassware, you know?
Tractor.
That's
the new name of 2019.
That's right.
Tractor.
Number 1.
Baby tractor.
Honestly. So it's like, so the coloring on the tables, I always am like, if you're in a nice place, pay attention to your kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or when I'll have big tables, we'll have big conferences from Middle America, and all of the kids have an iPad. My thing is, if you want the internet to parent your child,
totally fine.
Live your best life. Mazel tov to you. The next generation is doomed, but whatever. My thing is, get some fucking headphones.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to be going to your child and saying, excuse me, sir, can you please turn the volume down on fucking Paw Patrol or whatever the fuck you're watching? I can't.
And that's the thing. It's like we're not like we don't hate kids. Like we love kids. I was a nanny.
Love kids.
I was a nanny. I've taken kids to restaurants. Like I've had to put them in front of their iPad because they were going crazy.
Right.
But you keep your voice down. You put some headphones in.
Yeah.
And you keep an eye on them. And it's not against kids. It's just like we don't want to have to tell you because we don't want that awkward space where you're like, hey, don't tell my kid what to do.
Totally.
It's like, well, I have to. This is a place of business, and it's for their own safety.
Right. Well, my thing is just like when we used to take my niece and nephew out. my nephew, we would just make it about him too. So it wasn't like, stop interrupting mommy's conversation, Tractor. Be quiet. Watch your iPad. Right? It's like, you're a part of it too. So then when the kid gets tired and can no longer behave like a human being, you leave with them.
Yeah.
Because it's about them too. Yeah. They're not just like a handbag or like a scarf that you're bringing with you, right? Anyway, take control of your kids.
We don't want to parent them.
No, I ain't your mama. I ain't your mama. Okay, number 2.
Number 2.
Number 1 was I ain't your mama. So number 2 is getting a server's attention.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course you've all heard, like, don't do this. I don't know if I've ever had someone do that. I think people know.
I think I've been snapped at.
Not to do that, because I think, I don't know. I don't know if I would be.
But they always put their hands in a position where it's like close.
Yeah, it's this.
It's like the little.
The wave.
Oh.
Here's the thing. How do you, in Canada, how do you get a server's attention?
How would I actually?
How do you? Yep.
I would just make eye contact.
Okay. That's how you do it, guys. That's it.
And smile.
If the server is not looking at you,
they're not doing their job.
They're not doing their fucking job. So, if they're not looking at you, either they're very, very busy and they have in mind, if they're good at their job, they have in mind that they're gonna get to you. Okay? If you're in a rush, let's say your server hasn't been to your table in a while. You're in a rush. You're like, oh shit, I just realized I've got tickets to the ballet. Because that's the life we lead because we're fancy. Tickets to Swan Lake right away. You need to get the server's attention. What do?
I would just look around like this as if they can see that I'm looking for them. And then as soon as I saw them, I would make eye contact and smile.
And then if they're not paying attention and you need them, if you can't make eye contact, because that's what people are going to say, well, that's all well and good if you have a server who's good at their job and can make eye contact with you. We've all had servers who are nicht good, right? But is it okay then to be like, hello?
If I was in a rush and I had to leave, then I would get my ass up and I would just go over to them and just say like, hey, I'm so sorry. We just realized that we had to
go over to them.
I wouldn't wave them over.
What would I do? I think I would say, if they were rushing by, I'd say, I'm so sorry. I know that you're super busy. Excuse me. We just realized that we gotta go. So if you could grab us the bill, that'd be great. Or another staff member. You don't say, can you get me the bill? You say, can you just grab our server and just let her know that we just realized, right? I don't know what it is, guys. It's cultural. It's a cultural weirdness that it makes us crazy that across the room I have this. Because what is it implying?
It implies that you're not good at your job, that you haven't been there.
Yes. It implies that they have needed things from you and you haven't been there. Which then implies that they maybe aren't going to tip you like they should. Right?
Yeah. But then let's all the other tables around them think that you've been ignoring them.
Which I think that might be giving people a lot of credit. I don't know that people are like, did you see those people waving? That server is bad at her job.
I've done that.
Have you?
Yeah. Not like fully, but like if I've seen like another table like do that, I'm like, oh, I wonder if something happened.
Now we're not saying that all servers are really great. No, we shouldn't be giving all servers the benefit of the doubt. Some servers are shitty. But my thing is, all of us have had a day where we are not at the top of our game.
Yeah.
So I like to say, okay, I like to assume if someone is not doing great, that they're having a bad day. Here's what I'm trying to work on, because I've been told by people who watch this that I interrupt a lot. And it's because we love each other.
Yeah.
So, fuck you. Just kidding. No, but actually.
That's the thing is, like, we've been on both sides of it. Yeah. So we get it. Like,
well, and I've fucked up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I am like, let's say last night, this lady ordered a Bud Light, and I thought that it was a different table that ordered it, and I was like, I don't need this, actually. So I said to the bartender, I don't actually need this. And then, like, a little while later, she goes, is my Bud Light still coming? And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. And I said, I'm purely ornamental around here. It's a pretty day, not a smart day for me, so you'll have to forgive me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I bring
self-deprecating.
Well, yeah, you just have to make a joke about it, apologize, and then fix it. Number 1, of course, is about tipping.
Tipping.
So here's the thing. I've lived abroad. When I lived in Asia, they don't tip. And in fact, in Korea, if you try to tip, they're like, no. They're like very much like, no, you know. In Canada, we don't make $2 an hour like they do in the States.
Yeah, that's true.
We make a little bit less than minimum wage, generally. So if you're in Vancouver, which is the most expensive city in North America to live in, and you are a server, and someone thinks, oh, they're making a wage, it's fine, we don't need to tip them. I mean, we can't, there's no way of living.
Yeah.
There was an article that came out recently, you probably saw this, the $100,000 server. Did you see this?
No.
There was an article that came out locally here in Vancouver by this idiot at the Globe and Mail who was like, I met this server and she said that she makes $100,000 a year. We're all being duped by the service industry. And I was like, what, do you make $100,000 a year?
Fuck no.
Like, I'm like, please, because one girl works at like the bottle service area at Park Hotel or at Trump Tower and makes, you know, $700 in a shift.
That's not normal.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous. So she's one out of how many service people are in this city?
Yeah.
That's maybe 0.5% of the servers in a city, if that, are going to be making crazy money like that.
There's no way.
If you don't tip, for all of our international friends, listen up. We love you. Come visit. We love you. But tip out. Tipping in Canada is a gentleman's agreement. Do you have to do it? No. You do it because we're giving you great service and because of tip out. What is tip out?
Tip out is when a server has to give a percentage of everything that they sell to the kitchen or to the bartenders or the managers or the hosts. So no matter what we get as a tip, no matter what, we have to give somewhere between 4 and 6% of what we sell to you to people that help us with our job. So if your bill is, let's say, $50, so let's do $100, it's easier.
Easy.
We have to give $5 of that, no matter what, away.
Right.
So if you don't tip us on that, oh, that money just comes from my pocket.
My pocket. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So our international friends, we love you. Vancouver is an amazing place to visit. Come visit us. But be prepared that a part of the experience of being in Canada and the US is that you need to tip accordingly. I understand. I've had many conversations with like Aussie friends of mine who have been my guests, who we've had an amazing time, and then we've talked about this. And they have been really pissed off by the fact that we're expected to pay this percentage. And I'm like, I understand. Maybe the system is not ideal. Maybe, you know, at some point it'll change. But in this moment, it is what it is. And if you decide you don't want to participate out of principle, it doesn't matter. I still have to participate in it. I still have to tip out. So if my sales are $1,000, I'm still giving $50 back to the house. So if I make no money that night and only make my wage, I'm leaving less $50. And if I'm making $10 an hour, that's 5 hours, right?
Of your time.
Of my time that I've just donated for your pleasure.
Well, other thing too is that if, you know, especially back of house employees, if they were paid a proper wage, the way that people in Australia are paid, like an actual proper wage, then the tipping thing, we wouldn't have to do it. But the thing is, they're not being paid enough money. And if we didn't get tipped, there would be no service workers. Like no one would work in the industry because it's not sustainable emotionally, mentally, financially, in any of those ways to do it without knowing like, okay, I had a really shitty day, but I made $100. Yay, I get to put that towards my fucking rent. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
so we are paying for the people who are making your food, who are maybe making like $15 an hour. And because of our tip out, because of us giving that percentage to them, they're now gonna make $17 or maybe $20 an hour, right?
Which they deserve.
Which they deserve. So I get it. Maybe your system is better where you're from. Totally. Maybe you may be totally correct. But that doesn't mean that while you're here, it's any different for us. So if you're coming out, love to meet you. Come on, love you. But just understand that this is kind of the system that we are living under, right? So normal tip in Canada, what is it?
Minimum 15.
Minimum 15.
And then, I mean,
if service is good,
20. And if it's excellent, it could be up to 25.
Whatever you want, honey.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You feel good? Okay. So you've said the worst tip that you've given. I've given less than you, but you said it was really
10.
bad 10.
I've given 10.
That's for really bad service.
Yeah.
So, and if when people ask me what's normal, I say bad service 10%, and they're like, you still tip for 10. I'm like, oh, sorry, yeah. So bad service, if it's not great, 10%. If it's normal, 15%. If it's good, 20%.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Americans, we love you. Come to Canada anytime. Because here's what I know. I walk up to a table of Americans.
They're great.
And they are gonna tip me.
Yeah.
I know that we're gonna have a great time. And also, they're gonna tip me because they know what's up. Also, because American service people make like $2 an hour.
Yeah.
If you are international, my loves, and you go to the United States, and you get service, understand that your server is literally making between $2 and $3 an hour. And if you don't tip them, right?
Yeah.
Scary. At least us here, they're making like 10, right? Which still, it's Vancouver. If you don't give me the opportunity to fix whatever is upsetting you, then you don't get, it should not affect your tip.
Yeah.
Because I have the capacity, your server has the capacity to fix it.
Yeah.
If you don't like your meal, your server has the capacity and the restaurant has the budget and the food to be able to remake it or give you something new, and they should take that off the bill,
Yeah.
right? But it's when you go, at the end of your meal, you get your bill,
Yeah.
and it is more than you expected, and you go, I really didn't even like that.
I'm just not gonna tip.
Okay. You had the opportunity when you were eating it to tell me you didn't like it. We could have gotten you something else. And now because it's more expensive than you thought, you don't want to pay for it, so you're telling me that you didn't like it.
That happened to me last night. Audible.
I cannot. I cannot. If you come to an expensive establishment, it will be expensive. Wait, what? I'm like, so people will come in, and this doesn't happen that often because most people know, right? But I'm like, why are you surprised? And if you come in, look at the menu and find out how much what you want costs.
Yeah.
And then when the bill comes, it won't be a surprise.
Yeah.
If you go out, have enough money so that you can tip.
Yeah.
If I'm poor, which I have been poor, I've been poor. I'm a po. There have been times when my friends are like, let's go out. And I think, I've got $10.
Yeah.
I can buy a pop and a side of fries with a tip. When we were in high school, we used to go to the Cheesecake Cafe in Red Deer. That's where I grew up. After youth group. And I had $5. And $5 was enough. Oh, I'm so fucking old. Oh, Lord.
McDonald's got me a car on a Friday night.
No, but it was enough to get a pop and a side of fries and with a tip. Wow, that's
was a long
amazing.
time ago.
Shut up. It was the year 2000.
That's not that long ago.
It's not, but then I could get, it was like $2 for the pop, $2 for the side of fries, and $1 tip.
Yeah.
I'm sure they hated us. I'm sure we were a nightmare because there was like 20 of us and that's all we got. But even so, you have to keep it in mind. Keep in mind what kind of place you're going to. Budget for it.
Yeah.
This feels like something that you should have been taught when you were about 13.
And no one gets taught it because no one talks about money when they're 13. But it's like something people should talk about.
Right.
Like teenagers should be taught when they go out to eat. Like we shouldn't see a group of 16-year-olds come in
And
the
go,
door and go,
oh, no.
oh. Mind you, where I work in Point Grey, they bring like mommy's credit card, so usually it's fine. But
They're like, just put it on plastic. Well, and and some of them are self-conscious. Like they don't really know what they're doing. And it's hard because as a server, you would like to be able to go like, can I guide you through this? Can I help you with this? But it's dicey, right? You cannot talk about tipping. You can't talk about all these things that we're not allowed to bring up, but you're like, I know that if you knew, either as a teenager or as someone from another country who's just visiting, if you knew what was expected of you, you're having a great time. You wouldn't want me to feel hurt or to feel like I kind of got screwed over by you. So it's this really kind of like fine line. Like you can't really say anything because they're like, thank you so much. That was so amazing.
I'm glad you had a great time.
And then you go back to the table and you're like, I cannot pay my rent with your compliments. Because they don't leave you anything. What did you call it? The golden shower?
Not golden shower. The golden handshake.
Golden
where
handshake.
It's like, oh, that was just such a great experience. You were so wonderful. The best service I've ever had, ever. Nothing inside.
Oh. So the golden part is just hyperbole.
It's hyperbole. There's
Get
nothing
it?
yellow in there.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah, so it's like people who tip you with their words.
Yeah.
And you go back to the table and you're like expecting like a normal or like 20% or whatever, and they leave you like 10% or like a couple of dollars, $5 on 60.
I had a guy leave me a few bucks and like a rolled joint from a like a dispensary once.
Not all bad.
It wasn't, I mean, I made use of it, but I'm just saying that like not everyone would, and
Yeah.
would probably appreciate money more.
Right. Oh my gosh, awful. Well, and like I think that I just wish that there was a way internationally to go like, hey, this is what's expected. We love you. It's not, we're not trying to take advantage of you. This is just kind of what we do here, right? And so you wouldn't feel like you're kind of stuck. You can't say anything, and like you know that they're gonna feel shitty when they get at the end of their Canadian trip, which they just started in Vancouver, and they realize that all their servers hate them because they didn't tip them.
Well, that's the thing, that perpetuates this culture of like the service industry and tourists, and how it's like, oh, the tourists, like it's like hit or miss, and you have this like weird relationship, weird relationship between servers and tourists, where you're like, oh, if you got it, I know that you're a nice person. If you got it,
I know I would like you if you didn't just screw me over for the rest of the night financially. Well, that's the hard thing, is that you're like, you're having a great time, but in the back of your mind, you're like, this could really be bad for me. And you're like, I can't wait to give you everything you just ordered. And then at least me, I do the math and I'm like, if they don't tip me, this is gonna be really bad.
Yeah.
You know? But it's hard because I try my best, and because I wear my emotions on my sleeve, it's hit and miss. But generally, I think I do pretty good at it, at not allowing it to affect my way with people.
Yeah.
Because I do genuinely really like people, and I do genuinely really want to have a great rapport with people. Yeah. But it's hard when people come in and you go like, uh-oh. Like you hear specific, just people because they don't tip where they come from. And it's just not as something that it's not a something. What was that? I like went into it. It's not a something they used to. But like, it just depends. Some people from there, so from wherever, are really, they know what's up. They've traveled internationally a lot and they're great. It always warms my heart when that happens. Like when people, like when I kind of have a little voice in my head that's like, red alert, you're not gonna get tipped. And then they are lovely and they know what's up. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That helps me to kind of stay balanced in my brains.
I want to ask you a question, because this has been brought up to me by other people who are not in the service industry.
Ask me everything.
Who are like, oh yeah, well, servers, they want 20%, but like their job, like it's not that hard. Like you're just bringing people food and blah, blah, like all of these people that say, you know, why are we tipping servers? And so I think it's important that we address like actually the what the job entails, because it's,
So to the Globe and Mail writer who wrote the article about the $100,000 server, it is clear to us you have never served. Because I believe serving is one of the most difficult jobs in the fucking world, if you do it well. I think if you don't do it well, maybe it's easy. You schlep them out some drinks, some food, bye. Right? But if you're good at it, so for me, I see a table and I read them emotionally, energetically to be like, what are they needing? They need me to leave them alone because they're having a business meeting. Are they a bunch of older dudes that just want to talk shop about whatever, and I'm going to come over and be like sassy and funny, but then leave them alone? Are they people who have been on a trip together for a long time and they need someone else to talk to? Or just whatever. You read whatever they need, and you're as malleable as possible.
You're a different person to each table.
Right. Yeah. You are a different version of yourself. Then you have to deal with people who are very rude, who are very entitled, who ask you for things. Okay, last night, 2 nights ago, this lady comes in, she goes, I would like a water, tap water. Okay, so I pour some water. Oh, no ice. Okay. Oh no, actually I want it room temperature. Okay, so I pour some just like straight from the tap. Don't, you know, actually I need a little bit warmer than this. Okay. So you can't be like, are you fucking kidding? You have to be like, okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just have the one person that you're dealing with. You have them. You have the table of 8 people that just came in and they all need waters and they all need menus and they all need, oh no, they don't want this, they want that. They want 1,000 mods, 1,000 things. And then if you're in a place where the kitchen are jerks, our kitchen people are lovely, so we're very fortunate. But a lot of places, you go back to the kitchen and if you have something that you need to tell them, they're like, what? Because the front of house and back of house, because of the wage disparity, there's some tension sometimes. And then you have to remember how things are supposed to go, all the technical aspects of it. And then you have to be balanced enough as far as your personality that you know how to keep things going. And you need to upsell.
Yeah.
Like there's
just a million things going on in your head. Like how to prioritize things, how to remember everything that everyone's asked of you, what to do first.
Yes.
How to like all of a sudden like go back into your bubbly, energetic self after like getting yelled at by somebody else.
Yes.
You know, like you're just constantly emotionally and mentally doing this like balancing act for like 6 hours.
I need a cloth for 109. I need to bring 2 coasters to 103. Don't forget that he needs a refill of water. So either I can get the refill of water or I can send somebody over, but he doesn't want any ice, which means I have to make sure like 12 things in your head and what order they need to be done in and doing them all at the same time.
And moving fast enough to get it all done and keeping in mind the other people that are around you.
Yeah.
And still looking happy and bubbly because no matter what, people are watching you all the time. And so if you look like you're thinking about stuff, you've got resting bitch face and that doesn't look good.
No, that's a problem for me. I work on it. I work on it all the time because if I have someone be really rude to me, I'm like I have a really hard time being like, no problem. So yeah, I just think to be a shitty server is not hard.
No.
To be a good server is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And so keep that in mind the next time you go out. If you go to a fine dining place, those servers have been in the industry for decades.
Yeah.
So don't think for a second that when you get there and your bill is like $500 and you're tipping $75, they don't need $75. I'm gonna give them $50. I'm gonna give them $30. I'm gonna give them $20. What do they need $75 for? What are they doing that's so amazing? You wanna have the experience of going to, somewhere really high end? Okay. Well, that server has a lot of pressure on them to make sure that your experience is perfect.
Yeah.
And the fact that you didn't have to think about anything, the fact that you had a delightful time and the food is wonderful and on time and hot and exactly how you wanted it, that's not an accident. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
It's orchestrated by the people in the back working with the front of house people in this perfect alignment. Anyway.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that big of a deal. Just tip. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever met somebody who has been in the service industry in the front of house who has agreed with people who are like, I think tipping is stupid.
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah.
So one other thing we don't get, we were talking about like not having breaks, is holidays. Like everyone else, like I get 2 weeks of vacation a year, and like Christmas I'm home with my family. I'm like, no. As a server, there are certain times of the year where you're on.
Yeah.
It's summertime and it's busy, good luck getting time off.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time and it's busy, good luck getting time off. And that's kind of what you sign up for as a server, that there's gonna be times that are dead, there's gonna be times that are crazy, and that time doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
So the next time you're out on Christmas Day and your server is there with you, tip them well, because the fact that they're there with you on Christmas Day means they're there with you and they're not with their family and friends, right? Anyway, that brings us to the end of this long vent about serving. There's a lot more that we could say that we're not, because we're nice people. And generally speaking, I think I'm a good, you're a great server.
Thank you.
I think
You're a great server.
Thank you. It's like, we enjoy doing what we do. We enjoy the people that we get to, like, we enjoy our guests. It's the only way that you can do this for more than about 6 months without, you know, jumping off a bridge.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy socializing with strangers, this is not the job for you. But the bottom line is that it can be really difficult. So the next time you're in a situation or in a restaurant, keep that in mind, that your server is a human being. And that there are certain things in this contract, like I'm gonna do everything I can do to make sure you have a great experience. So you just gotta hold up your end of the bargain and we'll be great. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, so this has been What the Fuck Wednesday. See you soon. Bye.